Hello and welcome to the Candidates Forum. I'm Jared Fry, General Manager of Medina TV.
And I'm Jacqueline Rixmeyer with the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce. We are excited once again to partner with Medina TV to bring you the 2023 Candidates Forum. All candidates in contested races were invited to participate this year.
Yes, and the views of those candidates are not necessarily those of the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce or Medina TV.
Thank you for tuning in to watch our 2023 Candidates Forum. We appreciate your willingness to be informed about the upcoming election.
Joining me now in studio is the incumbent for City Council Ward 2, Dennie Simpson. Dennie, thank you for joining us here today.
Jared, thanks to you and to the Chamber for having us.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Why don't you first just take a minute and for people that may not know you, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm running for my sixth term on Ward 2 City Council. I've been here for, 20 years now. Before that, I was a paramedic for 41 years with Medina Life Support Team. I did spend a few years volunteering with Medina Fire Department. So I'm now chair of the Health, Safety, and Sanitation, so it's a good fit for me because I do understand the three areas of health and safety, and of course sanitation is part of our system too. So, and it's just worked out well, and I'm proud to have served the time that I've been on council. It's been a real honor. I've always felt giving back to the community that's given me so much is important to do, and I'm running again because I still love it. I really enjoy the office that I hold. I think collectively we do a good job, and I'd like to continue.
Mm-hmm. And then you led me perfectly into the next question. Okay. I'll give you a chance to expand on what you just said there. The decision to run again. What was the driving force or the passion that made you run?
Again, I enjoy it, so it's hard to give up. If I lose, I will not lose any sleep over it, but I still enjoy it, and I want to serve. There's so many issues that's ongoing now that some of them we've worked on for the last 20 years. The courthouse issue being one, and it's getting close to the end, and I would like to see that through. The West Liberty project, we've tried and we've been successful of adding housing in the historic district, and I think that is going to be another big project that I'd like to be there to see through, because it's so important especially for the younger generation that want to live downtown and be close to all the festivities and so forth. So those are some, and again, just the best part of the job for me is answering questions. When I get emails or phone calls, I enjoy that. Usually people don't call to tell me that or email me that I'm doing a good job. Mm-hmm. They've got a concern, and I'm able to guide them. I can't solve their problems, but I can guide them to who to talk to in the city that's maybe going to be able to answer their questions or their concerns. Whether that comes out the way they want or not, that may be a different thing, but that's exciting, because usually, like I said, people are upset when they call for whatever the reason may be, and I feel I'm able to help calm them down and give them direction of who they need to talk to. So that's pretty rewarding.
And for the people at home that may not know, kind of explain the role of what a council person does.
Well, there's two council at large, which encompasses the entire city, and 4 ward council people. I'm in Ward 2, which is the northeast quadrant of the city. Council as a whole represents the entire city financially. We're the ones that, they jokingly say we hold the purse strings. But anybody from the administration, starting from the CEO, the mayor, to the department heads, they put in requests. We go through the budget process and determine whether there's money there or not to grant those requests. And fortunately, I wish it was wood, we're doing the city is doing a good job financially. So a lot of the requests are they're not wish lists, but there's things that people request to actually need to have money available so they can provide the services that we've become accustomed to. And that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So you just mentioned the city as a whole, and then also Ward 2 in which you serve. What do you think are the biggest issues that face Ward 2? Ward
2 is, we've got 99 miles of roads in our city. It's hard to believe when we're only 10 square miles, but if you look going east and west and north and south, there's 99 miles of road, and that's 99 miles of water lines, storm sewer. So I think the biggest complaints that I've gotten infrastructure-wise is taking care of the roads. The service department and the engineering department's done such a good job on replacing some of the storm sewer basins that has caused in the northern quadrant of my ward some flooding issues. So most of that has been taken care of. The streets are just non-ending. Every year we do the concrete patching or replacing sections, but we also have completed a lot of road totally replacement. Reconstruction of roads. When reconstruction's done, they replace the storm sewer and the water lines. This is a preventative. So that's the biggest issue. The other issue in my ward is the deer. That's been an ongoing problem for probably 15 years. I never really heard from anybody that was in favor of the deer. Once we started discussing, an ordinance to cut down the number of deers, then we had people, that came up. But the majority of them complain about the deer is eating my plants, the deer is, putting droppings in my yard. So that's, I think, some of the biggest concerns in my ward.
Now, as you look at the city as a whole, what do you think are some of the biggest issues that face the city as a whole?
Well, we are so fortunate, again, housing for one, where the city's built out. There's very few, if any, buildable lots. So housing is one of the major concerns. We get, I always say that people move to a community because of health care, churches, and schools. And we've got the best of all. So people want to come, there's just not housing available. So again, the West Liberty project is going to create more housing. The Farmers Exchange revamp has created housing, especially in the historic district. The infrastructure, it's never going to be 100% complete, but the city, we've got a 1.25% income tax, and 0.25% of that goes to streets, sidewalks, and storm sewers. So we're good with that, but we're never going to be able to catch up. It's just a fact that we spend more money and do more projects probably than any other, I would have to guess, in any other community our size in the state. So I'm proud of that. And it's not council that's doing that. That's the department heads, the engineering department. I mean, it's just amazing what they accomplish, and I'm proud to be part of that.
Now, you talk about all the projects and stuff that council works on helping the administration get to. How important are collaborations in those endeavors?
Yeah, it is amazing. We just recently talking about the courthouse issue. We've been able to collaborate with the county commissioners, and again, the courthouse. It's coming to fruition, I think. The schools, we work with the schools on so many different projects. We have resource officers at the school. The school helps us with the, I'm trying to think of the word.
Just helping with the student resource officers?
Well, the student resource officers, it's collaboration, but taking care of the video equipment. I'm drawing a blank when it comes to, but we collaborate with that. We just collaborated with the putting in the new pickleball courts down at AI Root. So, yeah, it's a great relationship. We also work well with Montville Township and Medina Township in different areas, and Lafayette Township, obviously. So, yeah, we couldn't do some of the projects without the help from the county, the schools, the township. So, yeah.
Yeah, and now, you mentioned just in one of your answers a little bit earlier some of the issues regarding animals. Mm-hmm. I guess we've had issues with the feral cats, right. Feeding of wild animals, and then, of course, you mentioned the deer.
Right.
What are your thoughts kind of regarding each of those issues?
Well, the feeding the wild animals. Our law director, Mr. Huber, I put a request in probably 10, 12 years ago about coming up with an ordinance about stop feeding the deer. Mm-hmm. And it came back that we couldn't really just designate deer that we could prohibit feeding. It had to be all wildlife, except birds. You can still use. So we come up with a which I feel is a reasonable ordinance and prohibiting feeding wild animals, and it's only for extreme cases. So if somebody's feeding a deer or skunks, raccoons, whatever, if it's interfering with your neighbor's happiness in their life, they can file a complaint. So it's really just extreme cases that there's only been one so far that I know of. And what happens in that, there's not a fine levied at that time or a charge levied. The police go out and they try to console the homeowner about feeding the deer and that you're interfering with your neighbor's peace and happiness. They're doing, by you feeding those animals, they're doing damage to your neighbor's property. So they go out and they console the individual. They go out a second time to console, then the city will send a letter, and if they still continue to do it and it's still becoming a problem, if they haven't tried to resolve it, then there would be, a misdemeanor charge filed against them. But again, those are for extreme cases, and I supported that. And again, I don't think it's it's going to be a windfall of charges going out against our residents. And as you can feed whatever you want, as long as it's not interfering with your surrounding neighbors. As far as the deer issue that you brought up, I'm not a hunter. I've never been a hunter. I don't own any weapons. If I had to kill what I eat, I'd be a vegetarian. I can guarantee that. But we've noticed and been proven that the deer population has increased so much over the last 7-8 years. We had ODNR come in and explain what the population should be and how we're 6 to 10 times higher than that. I'm not one that if the deer are eating your plants, I feel bad for you because you're spending a lot of money, but that's your choice. Mm-hmm. So I didn't vote for the ordinance for the culling because the deer were eating people's vegetation and flowers. It's bad. People spend. My wife is one. She spends tons of money, and we do everything we can to, purchase deer repellent, and some of it works, some of it doesn't. But in saying that, the number of accidents, and our speed limit in the city is 25, except for the state highways are 35. So most of the times that there's been car-deer accidents, they've been non-injury to the occupants of the car, and that's great. But those people that hit the deer, they still have to have an insurance claim. They have to pay a deductible, so it is costly, and that has increased, threefold over the last 3 or 4 years. And the deer's health. I'm sure you noticed around the school, a lot of the deer that you see, they look unhealthy. You can see their ribs, and that's not normal. I asked the gentleman from ODNR when he was here last spring. We've lived in our house we're in now for 23 years, and for 20 years we have had 4 evergreen shrubs, 2 in front of the driveway, 2 in front of the front door. Deer never touched them. Ate all the flowers, but didn't touch it. Within a year and a half, they completely ate the evergreens. And I asked the gentleman, they never did that before. And he says, that's because there's not enough food, and there's no nutritional value for them eating the evergreens, but it's filling for them. So for the health of the deer, the safety of our community, I voted for the ordinance for the limited calling with the bow hunting. And the police are going to be in charge of that. I don't think there's going to be that many properties. If people have to apply for a permit to have bow hunting on their property, they have to be in an elevated stand. But the police are not going to allow, the biggest fear from the residents that I've talked to is, I don't want people bow hunting in my neighborhoods. Well, in my opinion, there's only going to be a few areas in the city that they're even going to be allowed to hunt in. The police are not going to issue permits if there's going to put anybody in danger. So maybe the industrial area, the fairgrounds, some areas where there's wooded areas behind people's houses that are not parklands. But they're not going to have hunting in the center of Medina or most of the neighborhoods. And again, I was hesitant in voting for that, but I do think that the population needs to be decreased. But we also have to expand, like Mr. Lamb was brought up, the non-lethal methods. I think it's got to be a combination of the limited calling and the non-lethal forms too.
Yeah, we're speaking with Dennie Simpson, the incumbent for Ward 2, City Council. And you did a great job. My next question was actually going to talk about the deer levy on the ballot. And I guess to clarify for the people at home that may not know, the deer levy, and you correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, a vote yes allows the ordinance to pass, which will allow the culling of the deer.
Correct.
A no vote will not let the ordinance proceed.
Correct.
To not, not cull the deer in that instance. I think you get an explanation. You're perfectly allowed to expand on it more if you like, but if not, maybe if you don't expand on it, talk about the issue when it's in front of the voters, when it's kind of out of council's hands and in the voters' hands.
And I think that's, when the No Bow Hunting Committee started circulating the petitions to get it on the ballot, most of us, I shouldn't say that. I, for one, thought that that's a good idea. I feel that I did my part in passing a limited bow hunting ordinance for the city, but with them circulating petition, getting it on the ballot, ultimately it's going to be up to the voters. And if they want the hunting, if they want the hunting done, it's good. If they don't, we've done what we need to do. Then we'll have to go back to the drawing board and see what else we can do to. The population's only going to increase. And I still, in my heart of hearts, feel that something needs to be done.
What would be the biggest goal or the biggest thing you would like to accomplish if elected for your next term?
Well, again, some of the projects, we're talking about, we're in the process of redoing the skate park, which I know a lot of people are not interested in, but a large portion of our younger members of the community have utilized that skate park in Reagan Parkway, but it's really deteriorated. So I'd like to see that completed, which I'm sure it's going to be. Infrastructure, again, it's it's an ongoing battle, but we're plucking away at it. West Smith Road projects near completion. By the middle of next year, it should be totally completed. We're going to be doing Blake Avenue, which is a small street that runs between Medina Street and Prospect Street. But there's been so many water main breaks in the last 4 or 5 years that, and the street's in such deplorable shape that we want to reconstruct that and replace the water lines and storm sewer, like I mentioned. But the infrastructure, State Road, we're applying for grants to reconstruct State Road. So it's a non-ending battle, but that I think it's important to the community. I hope the community realizes all the work that has been done. Guilford Boulevard, Union Street, West Smith Road that's being done now, Lake Road. The infrastructure on Lake Road was deplorable. We took out bond issue and replaced all the Lake Road and all of its infrastructure. Now almost all the factories on Lake Road I don't think it may not be 100%, but it's 99% filled. Commerce Drive. I mean, I hope the community understands that their tax dollars have been spent wisely in completing some of these infrastructure projects, but I want to see that continuing. And again, I want to see that courthouse issue completed and the West Liberty Street issue completed. The South Court District, that's got so much potential. Not in, a lot of it's not in my ward, but I do represent the city, so I think it's important that we work to expand that.
Sure. Now, one of the monikers you've kind of has grown on you as a councilman is they always refer to how you always refer to be kind to everyone.
Yeah.
How important is that with the relationship between council, the mayor, administration, and the constituents?
Well, I've always been, accused, rightfully so, of being a cheerleader for the administration and the department heads, because I would put our department heads up against any department heads in any municipality throughout the state. They are so dedicated. Being kind, that's not a problem with council's relationship with the mayor or the department heads. I say that because my wife and I, we follow state and national politics, and in my lifetime, the last 10, 15 years, I'm ashamed of some of the things that's going on. And I think if they just remembered, no matter how they feel about an issue, you can not agree with your colleagues, but you can be kind to one another. So, I always say you catch more flies with sugar than you do with vinegar, and I don't think that we're moving in the right direction nationally and through the state. So that's why I'm on the soapbox of being kind as often as I can.
Yeah, well, and we're speaking with Dennie Simpson, City Council incumbent in Ward 2, and you've answered all my questions greatly, and now I'm going to turn the mic over to you for any last comments that you might have for our viewers.
Well, thank you, Jared. It's been a real honor being here. I am running for re-election. I hope that you can support me and that you're confident that I will continue to work hard for you. It's been an honor of my lifetime to be able to serve. I'd like to continue to serve one more term. Thanks for your support.
Again, that's Dennie Simpson, the incumbent candidate for City Council Ward 2. And Dennie, thank you for joining us, and I wish you the best of luck this November.
Thanks, Jared. Thank you so much.